i luftlagerbältet.
Did you just do this? Did you crack on?
Everybody has the Rotten Tomatoes. In case it's needed.
Oh my gosh.
He's introduced himself.
Most
I don't know what he said.
Okay, this is my son, Michael.
Yeah, I'm like,
The oldest.
My purpose here right now is to introduce the guest of honor standing behind me. I was his firstborn child.
all right.
Without further ado, Vombola Ray.
It's actually Raig.
Michael.
Hope I don't have to sense.
You do.
You know, standing there, I figured out that I'm getting pretty damn old. And the year I was born is between the two world wars, you know, which are the first and second. And I think almost exactly that point, somebody who knows history can figure out when I was born. Now, Tony is gone. Tony could have said like that, you know. Where's Tony?
I'll get him.
I just woke him up.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, get him out here. So you have some figuring to do.
He was
Oh, yeah, I should have done that.
You needed Tony for your opening line.
Huh?
You had this all planned.
No, I was just standing there figuring when I was born. I figured that out. Right?
I know. Is this a contest? Do you have gifts, prizes, monetary, something? No.
Is the air conditioning working?
What's that?
Is the air conditioning working?
I'm feeling it. It's good.
It's nice.
Yeah. It does. Well, it feels nice for me because I'm drunk off.
I don't know.
Just in the middle of the show.
All right, we can turn off the camera and take a break. We'll wait for
What
Tony.
camera?
What's that?
Yeah. Chalk cat.
Yay,
Tony,
Tony! We're waiting for you. He needed you in his first line.
I needed you to verify some historical facts.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Now, what year was I born if it happens to be between First and Second World War?
Oh, if it, it would have to be between 1939 and 1918.
No, obviously, everybody knows that.
Exactly, Tony.
You probably said 20th century. I didn't need to that.
I just woke up, Grandpa. What,
Oh.
you asked what year you were born?
Yeah, if I was born between the First and Second World War.
Halfway.
I know.
I don't know. It's,
Were you born in 1932?
Yeah, any other offers?
1931.
31.
33.
Yo, you probably knew that anyway.
That's too stupid to figure out the other way.
That's our film.
But anyway,
Whatever.
that makes me pretty damn old.
No.
Well, the other thing is, where was I born? You know, if you look at the map of Europe, you know, if I was born in Italy, it was easy, you know, it's a put of, you know, whatever, Italy. But, yeah, you know, it looks like a damn boot, you know, that's it. But now it's just as easy to find Estonia. Now, if you go up north there, you know, and you look at the seas, you know, there's a Baltic Sea, and this is, if you look at the Baltic Seas, you know, you shape of it, you know, there's like a head, and there's a head is like Gulf of Bothnia, then coming down, you have a Gulf of Finland, you know, like one of the arms. Come down, there's another arm going, and that's the Gulf of Riga. And you know, between those two arms, well, the whole shape looks like an angel. You know, okay. And in the arms of the angel is Estonia, because that's between the Gulf of Finland and Gulf of Riga. And there I was. Now, Now you can find Italy, and now you can find Estonia. Just look for the angel, arms outstretched, and there's Estonia between the arms. Between the arms of the angel. God, I haven't told so much.
Very poetic.
In the arms of the angel, Grandpa.
And someone said 1931, so it makes me, I talk about that. Makes me old. And when I was born, then, I didn't always speak perfect English like this, I That's a joke.
You want a joke card or a laugh card? You can look.
Oh, I should.
A clap card. That would be perfect.
No, there was. Then a number of years ago, they put me on a ship, and shipped me to USA, which is the country here, mostly, So I sort of lucked out because there was other choice was going to Australia, going to Sweden, and England, and just any place after the war. You just want to get the hell out of Europe. But anyway,
Do you want the fan yet? Closer.
no, I just want to.
Yeah, extension cord.
No, that's all right. I'm making up peace. Captain, my lips.
Did you have a boarding pass for a trip to Australia?
Yeah, I am. It's all set to go.
So how come
Yeah.
you didn't end up there?
Now, I wouldn't have a wonderful group of people like what we have here. If that had happened, I don't know. I probably would have had herded kangaroos or something. But anyway, I to sum it up, I've been pretty damn lucky to put it pretty mildly.
What year did you leave Germany?
1949,
What year did you leave Estonia?
1944.
Okay, we're gonna have to get up on the mic. If you've got a line of questioning, do you want to go up with Dad?
Yeah, submit the questions, And,
Well, no, we gotta hear the
You have to
questions
repeat the question.
because he's giving dates and we don't know what's going on film.
Tell me the rules.
I need somebody to verify that.
I'm embarrassed.
Or Dad, when he asks, if he says, "When did you leave Estonia?" you can say, "I left Estonia." So.
No,
Answer in complete
Okay.
sentences.
Okay, can you do that?
Put the question
I
in the
might
sentence.
remember it.
All
Yeah.
right, good.
Who said that?
Me.
Mike?
Boy, Mike
What,
said.
North Olmsted Education's working.
He repeated what one of
Where
mine.
the-
Oh, okay.
Uh-oh. the two sides.
Is there put the question in the
Put the question in the answer. Are we done?
So, Dad, when did you leave Estonia? And then you gotta repeat it.
Better repeat again.
Well, yeah, because we wasn't on camera. Yeah, I left
Oh.
Estonia. Okay.
Instant replay. I gotta say the same number. I started 1944.
Mike.
Yes.
Mike,
I'm
Mike.
just trying to get the thing out of my face.
Dad, can you tell us the story of your journey from the
Which
time
journey?
you knew you were going to be leaving your homeland, in your home with your family, and how that all transpired and why, and your journey out of your home.
Could you
Park
use the
City.
microphone to ask questions?
Yeah, that was a long one, so I should.
That's all right.
But
It's
that's
picking
okay.
it up, I'm sure.
Okay,
You're fine.
all the way to Germany and then to the U.S. So the
Oh
whole.
God, that's sort of a long and boring story.
No, that's why we're here.
Well, Estonia, that was simple enough because 1944, the way the war was going, the Germans were getting beat finally, and there was a bunch of Estonian soldiers fighting the Russians, Hey, that's exciting. Oh, that's right. There was a war going on. And going back a little bit further, because I was deathly afraid of the communists. If you go back here, my father, he was arrested by the communists. And he was killed about a year later by the communists. I had the stroke, so that's why I'm so teary-eyed. Otherwise, I could, handle things. I lost control. Come out. That doesn't help.
You used to cry at Little House on the Prairie, Dad.
No,
So
that's
that's a stroke.
that was the way we went with the Russians, because it wasn't only my dad, but I also had our uncle. My uncle was a lawyer. I don't know if that included, but he was executed by Russians also, So, I had no love for Russians, communists, or any of that sort of thing. So anyway, I was still young enough, so I did not join any armies. If I had been a little bit older, I would have. But anyways, the Russians were coming, and we had a chance to get the hell out of Estonia. So my uncle and my aunt. Oh, thank you. That's funny. You're good. Who started that?
Oh, look at Grampa.
Maria.
Oh, good job, Maria.
Oh, that's humor. That was good. How the hell can we get out of here?
Your aunt and uncle.
Not the
Those
uncle.
petitions.
Well, my uncle worked for a research institution there, and the Germans decided to evacuate the whole institution. Everybody who worked there, and since we were both relatives, we were in a bunch, so they put us on a train and we went up north for a while.
Yeah, can
And
you tell that?
meanwhile, you could almost hear the noise of the war, cannons and stuff. So I guess they weren't going that far off. And you could see, you went down a little bit, down the country lane, you could see the soldiers digging in, So we got on a train and we went up north a little bit. And that was everything. Even we had a horse that was put on the train with us, And the horse had a little horse. I mean, a horse. What do you call that? Horse? What's a little horse?
Pony.
Colt. Pony? Little Colt?
Pony?
Pony.
No, ponies.
Not Tony. Pony.
Tony, not Tony.
A fowl. Isn't it a fowl? Foal.
It's a deer.
Anyway, we had on those.
Fowl.
Joe says small horse.
A baby
Fair.
horse.
And then, if you really look at the map, off the western coast of Estonia, there are two islands, Hiiumaa, Saaremaa. Where's our Estonian expert?
Sarah?
You know where Hiiumaa is, where Saaremaa is. What's it? She knows. So, now you know that I'm not blowing through smoke here. It's been verified now.
So you left from where, Dad? Tell them what town you left from.
We left from Tartu. Took a train up north to Tallinn. That's where you're gonna land on the map, not that far away. And from Tallinn, we took a train again to the western coast of Estonia. And from there, there's a little farm or, little ship where you put the horsey and fowls or whatever. And then we on that island and then waited there for a little bit. And then uh, the guy who was in charge of this institution that my uncle worked for, he got us on a German ship to, and we went to, where was that? Can't remember the name. Another scene here, a moment.
This was with Uncle.
But yeah, no, so anyway, it was
Antwerp?
sort of exciting on the
Was
ship
it
because
Antwerp?
at the time there was a lot of ships being sunk out of ships. So we end up in Germany. Yeah, that's a place. So another thing on the train, and we went to Berlin, and a little bit further there was a transient camp. And we settled there for a while. And that was sort of fun. What happened? Oh, that's, cousin in and out. You haven't met that, have you?
She was at
And
Grandma's
Anna's coming
funeral.
to,
Yeah, yeah.
Anna's coming to Estonia this time also. And she was just a little sport. So that must have been a lot of work for my aunt and uncle. Well, meanwhile, I guess I used to have a mother also. And so what, I left Estonia without my mother. Now what on earth happened to my mother? You might ask.
Suspense.
Yeah.
You're getting the hang of it, Dad.
Okay, yeah. Well, when we got on that island, and then we got this ship date, leave with the ship, evacuated. Now, my grandmother at that point decided to get sick. Then, of course, my mother didn't want to leave her mother. That makes sense, right? So she decided to stay in Estonia. Meanwhile, they asked me if I wanted to stay or if I wanted to go. Now that has to be awfully hard. Think back of it, if you're a parent and you're a 13-year-old kid, you're gonna ask, you're gonna go or you're gonna stay. Just go was one thing because, there's a lot of ships and stuff, people getting killed that way too. And the other one was, Russians coming and deporting and killing. That was the other choice, what the hell are you gonna do? And for the parent to ask, 13-year-old kid, you wanna go? So I guess some wise person in the family said, well, why don't we ask the kid? He's the wisest of them all. That's me. So they did, and I said, I wanna go, I don't wanna stay. Now I had a small brother 5 years younger. They didn't ask him, he was just a kid. I was gonna go 13. So Nana stayed and I went. So that's what I mean. I've been lucky all along. Anything has happened to me. Not by my choice, it's just the way it's happened. So anyway, besides the little aside, so we get to this transient camp again. That's, going through Berlin, and you sit there, we could see once in a while American planes coming over on a bombing run to Berlin. And I don't remember much about that camp. I remember one thing though. It comes always down to toilets, but they had these way the toilets were built. There's a concrete slab, and then you had sort of like a key-shaped hole in it, so you could, squat and, cleaning it, you hose it down, I guess, So I have one of these ski things, and my belt fell in. And of course, you don't go to the store and get on a belt. I mean, that's, I'm beltless. Like I'm homeless now, some of the things. So anyway, I remember I fished that damn belt out of there. Well, that's not the only choice. there I was. I had a belt. So next thing, I guess, well, of course, always had a train. They loaded on a train, and we went through Austria, through Vienna, stayed Vienna a few days, and then we went from Austria, like it's going up north going to Czechoslovakia, close to Pilsen. And we stayed there for, I don't know, from the fall until, the next year, Americans came in, Russians were close to them. And that was a great year. I had a good buddy of mine, Dave. So we took daily walks, played chess, and went out with skis, and didn't go to school, so that was just great, I was 40 years old, but that's, that really worked out. And also Czechs really did not like Germans, and my uncle working for the Germans, that research thing, So it could have been bad, but then my uncle got to know the guy who owned the apartment that was allotted for us. And I guess they just told him that we got these people and they're gonna stay with you, just no choice. And at that time, when going back now a little bit, again a few years, when the Russians first occupied Estonia, then all the weapons were gathered together, everybody had to give up their weapons. And my dad was an army officer, so I guess he had some choice. So he had a couple of pistols that, we managed to bury before we turned them over. And those one of the pistols was still with me. So I was a big guy, and I used to be in front of the mirror, and shoot myself. So anyway, I guess my uncle took my damn pistol and gave that to our landlord there. And I guess that was a big thing. Because also the landlord had been, I guess the Germans had imprisoned, for a while. So I guess that was impressive because my uncle gave the pistol, sort of working for Germans, and also saying that they come for you, come through our apartment, and get the hell out of here, they get. So when of course, Germans did a lot of bad things in Czechoslovakia too, so it wasn't all that happy hunting around there. So, but I think that the association with my uncle and the pistol and what have you, and my good looks. So, when Americans came in, then I guess all the Germans were more or less gathered together, and they were just given minimal food stamps and all this stuff, But we got the same stamp, the food stamps that that Czechoslovakian people got, and that was due to our landlord. The Czechs were really brutal because the Estonian servicemen that were in the German army, they were just thousands of them were executed by the Czechs. So there's some very sad stories there. Very few person like this. But anyway, we didn't execute us or anything. But also, we saw the Russians. Russians were damn close, I would say, 10 miles of us. We thought, if they get any closer, we'll get the hell out of here. But anyway, so eventually, all the Estonians that were there, they were gathered together, and there were a couple of American trucks, we got on these American trucks. trucks, you know, and a couple of American soldiers, I imagine it must have been maybe a sergeant in charge of this convoy. And they took us to Pilsen, you know, so we could see all these prisoners of war, so fields of prisoners of war, you know. And then first place that this American truck driver drove us was a Russian internment camp, you know. So, and they said, okay, here we are. Of course, nobody got off the truck, you know, and with that noise, you know. And we did have one lady that spoke English, you know, which helped a lot, I think. And she told me that we don't belong here, we want to be here, and told me we will not stay here. So, okay. So they drove around Pilsen there for a while. And then we are in another Russian camp, you know. It's scary as all hell, you know. But we got out of there, and they put us into a, but that in a SS camp, you know. So that's nice barracks, you know, and had us wearing pool and you know, they put some nice powder down our shirts, you know, before. Us, you know. So, you know, and I guess I was not thought about. I wasn't a deep thinker at the time, but I'm just thinking back to it. Lucky again. So, back on the train, back to Germany. In Germany, they had all these TP camps, displaced persons camps. And they all over, you know. And the camp I was at that first day by the little school. I don't know, maybe we had like six people in high school. I think that was my first year of high school. That one. But after that, we went to a city that Americans kicked all the Germans out, and just about the whole city was Estonian. They had the police force, the newspaper, high school, grade school. You know, it was like an Estonian city. No Germans. So I went to school there for a couple of years, 2.5 years. That was good time. We lived in a dormitory that was, I guess, had been a hotel. So that was pretty good. You know. Went to school. We had no books, school books or something like that to bother us, you know. So.
Can you tell us the story about the paper? Some mischievous...
No, I'm hiding that.
Huh?
That's my criminal past.
Yeah, we want to hear about your criminal past inside this place.
Well, I think after war, anything that was not nailed down, that was free for taking. You just, you know, you just took it. Nobody thought anything about it. So I stayed in that hotel. Next door, somebody had discovered that there was a lot of these rows of newspapers. So we went in there, I don't know, it was about June, and we cut off this row, so we got some paper, because, you know, papers are done by, you know, we got paper from school. And, well, that was all right. But all of a sudden, the Estonian police, you know, they like searching it. But I guess somebody complained that some kids had probably the place had stolen this newspaper, you know. So they found some newspaper in my suitcase and all that stuff. It was just there, years. But no, they just on a report card they created like grade, you know, behavior grade, whatever that additionally had to be absolutely 5 or, you know, they got sick for district for life. So they knocked that college free, but they said, you know, once you're in school, we're affected by it. So I got out of that. So
Did you make this theft on school time or were you off school?
the one,
When you did this theft, was it during school or was it?
oh, that was, you know, the same place was right next to where we stayed off there, you know. And no, that was almost like night or evening or both that I don't.
Grace wanted to know if you had any adults in
Oh, what?
your dorm. Were there any adults in your dorm?
Yeah,
But
there was
Grace
a,
wants to know.
all right, good question. But,
Yes.
no, there, no, there was a family in charge of that one guy, you know. Yeah. No, no, they looked at us.
Grandpa, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Here, get up on the microphone. Go ahead.
Wonderful.
How did like how did you feel when you went all the way across like the whole world? Like when you traveled all the way around the world, not all the way, but part of the way.
Halfway
Were you
around.
scared? Like how did you feel?
I felt good because when I finally got on a ship leaving,
Grace, the mic.
leaving Germany, then I remember there was one, well, it took about 10 days in those days, you know, that one time and a half days. And arrived in Boston. But anyway, we had some bad days. I remember one stormy day, you know, I was the only guy in the dining hall because the food was good and after, you know, not really eating all that well. So I really all the waiters, you know, that was that on the ship, you know. And I ate and ate and
And where did you land? What year? Where did you land?
1949, I landed in Boston. But you know, then we were supposed to go to North Dakota. And we had no maps. We had just no idea where the hell was North Dakota stuff was, you know.
Why were you going to North Dakota?
Well, my uncle, well, the deal was that you got permission to get to the States if you had a job guarantee. And the whole thing is more or less organized by the churches. That thing, well, my uncle was organized by the Lutheran Church. And there was a clinic that did some lab work, and they guaranteed this job. And since I went to the country, that was. So we got to North Dakota. But that sort of thing.
It was what? What
Who
did
the
you
hell knows where the North Dakota
Oh,
is?
right.
As far.
That was almost after we got there. You go look for a job, you know, much, you know. And I guess one of the neighbors there or somebody told my aunt that yeah, there's a job, you know, it's in a foundry, but my aunt, you know, she didn't quite understand that, so she couldn't figure out where that was. So she said it's probably a funeral home. So that, but it wasn't. It was a foundry. 96 I sweated on that. Because nobody else would stay on that job because nobody was stubborn enough to do that. But I stayed with it.
Can you tell us about when your dad was taken? Can you tell us, you know, how old you were, what circumstances were? Was it during the day? Were you coming home from school in the middle of the night?
No, he was taken at work, you know, work. And it was during the day. And, well, what I saw them, they searched the house and there was funny stuff, which didn't. But the thing with the dad was, you know, so at the time there was really no charges or anything brought against him, since he was an army officer, you know. Anyway. But when they were taken to a prisoner camp And in the prisoner camp, he was re-arrested. And then the charges were against him that he had organizing the plot to assassinate Stalin. Now, if you can believe in a stupider thing in your life.
Why not? He was your dad.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, but think how the thinking at that time was for the, for the communists and for the Stalin's regime.
What year was that?
Well, when he was executed in 45, about a year later after, he was taken for his gun.
What happened to your mother and brother?
My mother, well, they stayed there and on the island. My grandmother was a good seamstress, and she was sort of supporting the family at that time. Making all kinds of leather garments and stuff like that.
And she passed away, about a month before I was born, right? Her name was Marie. Is that correct? Do I have this right?
Say again?
Your grandmother's name was Marie.
Yeah.
She died 1958, right before I was born.
That's right enough, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
July. And that's why you
No,
wanted to name me Marie?
No, I guess she wanted to make room for you.
She wanted me.
So that's what she went that you came.
Yeah. I would like to hear you talk about when you were young
Yes, I was.
in Estonia, riding through, you told us once about riding through the streets to town by yourself with the Russian marauders out in the woods, and I mean, just what your childhood was like while they were there. And
No, the Russians were there. No, that was when the Germans had occupied it. But then I stayed at my grandfather's farm a lot, When my mother or anybody came from the city on a train, then I went to pick them up too. I had a horse and buggy. And I did that every time, took them to the station, picked them up to the station. And of course at that time it was all kinds of funny people in the woods because they were Russian parachutes that they were hiding there. There was yes, woods were more or less full of people avoiding either the Germans or whatever. And one time, and then again, but I was 12, 13 years old, and I had this. Went up there to pick him up at night, and you think of 12 and 13-year-olds now, you get a babysitter, and here I am now. I take the damn horse, and I get into this wartime woods, and nobody thought much about it. But then again, I certainly did because I was, I was a practically grown-up person in my mind. So that's a little bit different.
So you took the horse into the woods?
Well, you have to go through the woods, country roads, they went through the woods, but through the fields, and over there, try your son.
That's like Michael's age. He's 12. That'd be like sending Michael out there.
I can't imagine that. I just can't imagine that. But it's different. It's, what I miss most, because I did miss a lot of my childhood, I sort of think, I would have liked to have, stamp my feet. I want to do that. My allowance isn't large enough, I would eat that. That's what I miss,
Yeah, you can do it all you want, man.
Impression of you?
Is that a impression of me and his ass?
Well, that was fun. And no tomatoes, no rotten tomatoes.
Mikey Joe has a question for you.
Uh-oh. Okay, Mikey, go. Speaking of two.
Alright. What was your dad's name?
Evil.
What?
Evil.
Evil?
Evil, yeah. E-V-A-L-D. That's me. Did I do that?
The historic checker.
And his last name was Reich. Same as yours, yeah.
Can you say that, Michael?
Can you say that, Mike?
Reg. Oh,
No,
that.
no, Reich.
Right.
Oh, that's good.
Yay!
I have another question, Grandpa.
Okay, come on, speak.
How did you discipline yourself when you got when you did something like bad? Like if you did something.
I never did. No, I did get beaten one time, you know.
Dad, a microphone.
Yeah.
Move it.
I thought, I don't know, I was maybe 10. But I thought it was one of the clever things, you know. My grandmother was ready to sit down, and so I pulled the chair out from under her, you know. And that didn't go well at all.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Yeah, I am too. I got back on it, yeah.
How old were you?
10. Or maybe 2.
Yeah, exactly. What happened when you were back in the States and you had a little bit too much to drink in North Dakota and Aunt Ino found out? Was that what you were talking about?
No, I wasn't talking. You were talking about that.
I was so impressed with the story and what you did. Yeah.
Well, that was, the
Now with the drinking.
Estonians had a New Year's party at the YMCA. That seems like a strange place to New Year's party, but anyway. So a couple of my buddies, you know, same age, you know, we went to a liquor store and we got some whiskey, the cheapest there was. And of course, we had really no idea how much to drink or not to drink. And evidently we drank too much. And I sort of ended up in bed next morning. It was the last thing I remembered. I did here. And my aunt was really upset. And I just didn't know how to quiet her down. So that was just before I had enlisted, you know. So that was like, you know, New Year's parties, they around New Year's. And so I think I was, about like 3 weeks later, I was going to the Air Force. Just to quiet my aunt down, you know. I mean, she was hysterical, you know. Yeah, getting loaded. So I says, I was 20 at the time. I says, I just won't drink anymore this year. So that was hard, yeah. So I have had my hardships.
And you stuck to it. You
Well,
waited till...
Joyce said, yeah.
Michael got another question.
Oh, yeah.
What was your earliest memory?
That's a tough one. What was yours?
I don't have one, I forget.
Michael. Give it up. Give it
Short-term
up.
memory.
Think about it. You have no memory?
I said short-term memory loss. Or long-time memory loss.
Too much hair.
So pretty.
Much your brain.
No, I think when I was like 10 or, you know, my memory is so kind of yellow. So most things I don't remember.
Favorite food as a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Pig feet.
I think main thing was just food. No, but I like cabbage rolls. And, well, there's some funny dessert they don't make anymore, but I like me bailit.
Grandpa, stop it. I learned how to say hello. You pronounced it correctly. That's good.
Yeah, that is big.
All right, if you had an opportunity to sit before President Obama and discuss the dangers of socialism from a first-hand perspective coming from there, what would you say to President Obama at this time?
If you want to get into it.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Can't do that.
How many tapes do you have?
Question. What was your horse's name?
Gilda. Gilda.
Hilda.
Yeah. It's like a Gilda except it starts with a G.
Gilda. But what does that mean? What does Gilda?
It's a name.
What's your mom's name?
Gilda.
Gilda,
Gilda, all right.
Close enough.
What does Vombola mean?
Grandpa?
They would say you're sort of old chief, you know.
He's a king.
Yeah.
Just call me Chief.
Great.
No.
Better than
How
king.
you doing, buddy?
That's true.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna go.
So you entered the Air Force at 20?
Yeah.
When did you become a United States citizen?
Well, about, I don't know, so 3 years later, I guess.
So you could be in the Army or in the Air Force and not be a citizen?
Oh, yeah. They could even draft you. Yeah. So and you know, that citizen, that was tough, you know, because they're supposed to ask you all the questions about government and all that stuff. And I think the toughest question I had was they asked if I could spell dog.
That was the toughest question? Shut up.
You could spell what?
If I could spell dog.
And did you?
Oh, yeah, I think that's good.
So nothing much has changed.
No, I think it helped being in the service. Yeah. Being in service helps a lot. You've been in Sarai, you've been married, for the giving world.
It's all right.
Another question, Grandpa. Did you get to see Berlin near the end of the war? You said you went through it.
What?
Did you see Berlin at the end of the war?
No. Yeah, I guess that was something pretty bad. When you just take the train through it, you could see the devastation.
You didn't date while you were in Germany, did you? Girls?
Oh, just a kid.
What was the question?
Did you date?
You didn't hear it?
I know, I didn't hear.
You didn't date girls in Germany, did you? Huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Mikey Joe wanted to ask that question, I wouldn't let him.
You wouldn't let him? You know.
Yo.
What? Whoa! Who gave him a pass? How many passes does he get?
He said he's too young.
Yeah.
No, you're with them.
Did you answer that?
No, I didn't get a question.
How many in Germany, between the ages of 14 and 18, you lived?
Yeah.
And did you date girls while you were there?
We didn't do that in those days.
Sorry. Grandpa turned out all right, you see?
Well, might be questions on that, but yeah.
Joe, the guy dating Aileen just started dating 5 months ago.
Yeah, that's good. I can relate to that.
Go ahead, Grace.
He's pelting me with little rocks. And he thinks it's funny.
Did you ever communicate with your brothers or sisters after you left them?
With the sisters, it would have been difficult because I don't have any. No, after the war, we did not communicate for about 5 years because we were afraid for the people that were left in Estonia, for them to know somebody who was, lived in a free country that was like little warned to be sent to Siberia, so we were afraid of that, we just didn't want it. So I think through some third person, we sent them a little message, just for them to know that we were alive. Because, in 1944, the Russians arrested, deported about 10,000 whatever Estonians, sent them to Siberia, whatever. And in 1949, they did the same thing. At that time, they sent like 20,000 to Siberia and all that stuff, And then, if you said a bad word about Stalin or anything like that guaranteed you 15 years, unless you got shot before that. So we just didn't. And of course, anything, I guess in 48 they had this Berlin blockade and all that stuff. So just think about the Russians and what they could do, it was very scary.
So if they found out that you were living that you were free, then that would.
Well, I don't know if they did. I just saw one transcript of somebody at sent to, well, I guess at the time when my brother tried to get into the university, and but somebody has sent in that says, well, why on earth do you accept a kid, whose dad was an army officer, whose brother was in, we had a youth organization, at that time, and who's now living in whatever USA. And why on earth would you, instead of accepting somebody, some worker's son who deserves it, rather than this capitalistic kid like that, So that thing, went on and on, I guess. And I guess, I don't know, it's only Estonians, that do that sort of thing that, makes somebody feel good, saying something bad about somebody or whatever, I don't know. I can't imagine myself doing something like that. But there are people who just, they're jealous or whatever, and maybe somebody can explain.
Sarah, can you explain it for us?
Thought I had a question. Dad, you know how tough the world is getting these days?
Yeah.
Right? That's what everyone's saying, how tough it is out there. So is it tougher today for a 12-year-old than it was when you were 12?
Oh, it's tough now.
It's tougher now?
Yeah.
Is the world kinder, gentler then than now, or what? I mean, people say the world's getting so tough, the world's getting so cruel, the world is cruel. I've heard people say, I can't imagine raising a child in today's world. Has anybody else heard it?
Yeah.
And so, what do you say?
The world's are so different, you just can't compare something that was 50 years ago to something that's now, or what'll be the outlook of anything in 20 years from now. Just can't compare that. And that is impossible to come to.
You're wise.
So that we bored you guys enough.
Well, no, the grandchildren want to know one thing.
No.
One more thing. They want to know which one is your favorite grandchild.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, they sort of happen to be all. Well, like I keep repeating you, I've been awfully lucky. And awfully proud.
So who is it? I asked a few.
Huh?
I asked a few.
Mary, don't you have some questions?
Grandpa, tell
Yeah,
us how
some
you
embarrassing ones again.
Grandpa, how did you learn to drive?
Oh,
So let's face it.
well, I got to North Dakota and knew in Estonia, knew was running a farm. And then what happened in the fall, I guess the first year. Yeah, it was the first year. And he had an old car, he gave me the keys. He said, okay, go and drive. In a field, in a wheat field, just so cut, so I drove around, I don't even know if at that time they take driver's exam. But anyway, then I bought a car, 75 bucks, and was it 35 Plymouth or something. And that was pretty good. That's first in a family who could drive, try to teach. I don't know if I teach my uncle, taught my uncle or not. Try to teach my aunt. But I remember one time, where's Mary? Oh, you remember I struck a tree that I drove into?
Can anyone
Well-
guess why Grandpa drove into a tree in North Dakota? Besides the two who were there, my children. Does anybody know? He drove into a tree in North Dakota right by his house.
Why?
Gas.
Why now? That's a good question.
I know.
Why?
Wait, I was
To get the
there.
fruit off.
Yeah, you were there. You heard.
I wasn't there.
Well, I think
What's
I
your
know.
guess? What was he looking at?
A girl.
A girl.
That was just showing off. So I had to make a 90-degree turn into the little driveway we had. I made 45 of those. And I never felt stupid in all my life. Because I was just, just girls and I was just driving, and I had cut class, from college and all that stuff, I was feeling good.
I was feeling
Right
good.
into the tree.
Everyone doesn't know that you were in the computers, back in the 50s. Talk about the UNIVAC 1101 or whatever it was called.
It was UNIVAC 1.
UNIVAC 1.
Yeah, tell.
This little phone of yours is what, 16 gigs of memory?
Yeah.
What was the UNIVAC? How big was it?
Oh, yeah. Let me think about that. Well, UNIVAC's word at that time was 36 bits, 37 plus 1 extra. But anyway, those and I think there were like 4,000 words in there, and they were stored in mercury tanks, that acoustic memory. So you transmit sound waves from, crystals, so the mercury that gave it a delay.